All right, this is hey, you got some.
Hey, there we go. Figured it out.
Figured one of us would.
You're ridiculous. I think it was on my end here.
I don't know, because it was showing that I had a viewer, but you weren't popping up.
Well, I just got in because I accepted the terms or something like that. I think that's all I had.
Oh, okay. So that works.
Where are those?
Yeah, that's not yours. Thank you.
Where are those?
Yep.
Where are those?
Dinosaurs. Here you go.
My question: where's Madeline?
I don't know.
Where are those?
It's mine. Thank you.
What's those? What's that? That's not my decoration.
No, it's not. Well, I sent the link out, so hopefully she gets it.
Yeah. But she's not responding to your texts either.
No, I noticed that.
But I mean, ultimately, if she doesn't respond, there's not a whole lot we can do.
No, we got to continue.
Because you're over on the East Coast. It's late for you.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock.
I still got light here. About.
Yeah, my light's been gone for about 2 hours now.
Yeah. Let's see if she responds. And then the fourth person in our group, they're nowhere to be found either. So.
Yeah.
I did notice that Madeline was her email was a Yahoo account. Does that matter?
I don't know. It might.
I think I was looking at some instructions, and it had some instructions about using a different email.
If I'm correct, if you had a Gmail, it automatically sets up everything.
Yeah.
If you don't have Gmail, then you'll probably have extra steps that you have to take.
Right. Well, so do you record it on your end?
That's what it's doing.
Oh, it's recording right now.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And then once we're done, it'll create a YouTube link so that we can post that out onto the assignment.
Right. Well, we've been trying at this for about a half hour, and she hasn't mentioned anything, so.
No. I figured let's give her a couple more minutes just to be on the safe side.
Okay. I'll send a message to her as well.
Okay.
And you go by what do you go by?
Juvie, Juve.
Okay, perfect. Luke. Easy.
Yep. It is.
Guess I can read the book a little bit more.
Yep, that's fun reading there.
Yeah.
I like bunny. Daddy?
Yep.
Jump like bunny. Jump. Jump.
Well, we've heard nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on and start, I guess. I mean, I want my points.
Yeah, so do I. Alrighty. So the topic of this week's discussion is what qualities make a good leader and what qualities make a bad leader.
Yeah.
So, what are your opinions on this?
Well, as I was kind of skimming through the book and looking at it, first chapter, I think, really goes over that really well. In one of the sections, it talks about leaders versus managers.
Yeah.
And there's just that one quote that it says, "You manage things, but you lead people."
Yep.
I thought that was huge on what makes a good leader, is that you actually, it's more with the person instead of numbers, statistics, dates, things like that.
True. I mean, I've been a part of a call center industry for going on over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And you see the difference between the two. You get the manager that is so stuck on the numbers, they forget what the numbers are, what's creating the numbers.
Sure.
And when they get like that, they lose the insight of being able to adjust what they're doing so that you can help the people versus telling the people you need to improve your numbers.
Yeah. My current manager, actually, and I say manager specifically because of what we just are talking about, because he is a manager. He cares only about numbers, statistics, which is funny because we've got an employee and he's a good worker, but my manager hits him so hard with dates and statistics and numbers, he doesn't even know the guy. He just wants him to meet his goals, which one side of it's great. The other side, a leader is someone who's going to motivate him to actually meet those goals.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's just taking that time and being able to go and find out what is actually going to be able to motivate an individual. Because what motivates me is not going to be the same that motivates you.
Sure.
And yeah, for me, I know what my numbers are. I know what they need to be. I know how to get them. But it doesn't mean that everybody does.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck on just the numbers, that's all you're going to do. You're never going to be able to show someone how to actually achieve these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just was reading, I had marked a spot in the book. It said leaders create an agenda by establishing direction and communicating long-range views of the big picture. And I kind of like that because leaders get the whole picture, whether it's, the numbers, whether it's how the employee actually works or whoever, player or whatever the leader is doing. They figure out all of the things and then put it all into one agenda and look at the whole big picture to get things done. I think that helps motivate people more from a leadership aspect than just a manager.
True, it does. I mean, the aspect is understanding the whole, as the book says, the leader versus the follower and how they work together.
Yeah, yeah.
When you get someone that a manager doesn't quite understand that, they're going to go and they're going to do the managing thing, and they're not going to understand how those people that are following them are either going to buy into what they're doing and go after it, or they're not.
Sure.
And whenever you have a group achievement that you need a buy-in from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that, it's never going to fully develop. You're always going to have some type of conflict that's preventing you from achieving what you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. Another part I liked in the book, I mean, it says the question of bad leadership, and it goes and it has all these different points: selfishness, cognitive errors, environmental factors, incompetent, rigid, all these different ones, corrupt, evil. And I was reading the environmental factors one, And I thought this was interesting. It talked about how it says selfishness and decision-making errors are internal sources of bad leadership. But however, there are outside factors, there are outside things that are going to make somebody, a manager, any type of leader, make decisions based on those environmental factors. For example, again, I go to my manager. He's got some personal problems going on in his life. I won't get into them, but he's making rash decisions based on those personal things, outside factors, and he's not being a good leader. He's stressed, so he brings that into work, and that kind of thing. So that makes him not want to be, or not want to, but it plays a role on what he should be doing.
It's preventing him from being fully engaged.
Sure, exactly. Fully engaged and treating us like his employees should be treated.
Well, does he see you as an employee, or does he see you as a piece of a puzzle?
Well, he used to be great, and I know he's got things going on in his life, but I feel like good leaders don't let those outside environmental factors, get into his workspace or his work life. And so as of right now, yeah, we're a piece of the puzzle. We're there to help him meet his goal. And that's really it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in the industry that I work in right now, it's the company itself is in a state of transition. It's going from the old guard to a new guard.
Mm-hmm.
But within that old guard, you have a lot of stressors and a lot of emotional reactions that are going into this.
Sure.
So when my manager gets a reaction from a vice president or the CEO, she's just reacting to that.
Sure.
She's not looking at the full implication of what's happening. She just wants what she wants it now.
Yeah.
And it's taken me years to get her to start understanding how we react now. We may be able to fix it, but it doesn't mean we actually fix the problem. We just fixed this actual situation.
Mm.
But if we take some time and actually work at seeing what happened, then we can start actually developing a plan so that it doesn't happen in the future. And over the last year, she's starting to see these pieces, so she's able to start slowing these things down. So it's being able to look at it in the fact of, I can react to it, but it doesn't mean it's always going to be the best thing. And versus just take the time and look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can fix a problem for the future, why not?
Yeah. And I think that goes right back to the difference between leaders and managers. I mean, leaders being able to look at the big picture and how to fix it for the future and not just for that specific time. Because if a manager fix it for that time, yeah, it's great. But then when are we going to either waste time trying to fix it again, lose production time, production hours where we could be, performing and meeting our goals.
And hopefully less stressed.
Yeah, exactly. As I was reading this too, the movie's not out yet, but I've seen previews and, I'm pretty excited. It's the Civil War movie with Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. I'm like, Captain America, leader, Iron Man, manager. And it just kind of, it was going through my head when I was reading it, and it was kind of funny how it was.
Yeah, I mean, they coincide.
Yeah, and you can kind of see how one does one way, just from the previews, I mean, and from previous movies. I mean, Captain America, he's one who likes to have a plan. He likes to make sure everyone's confident, motivated, and Iron Man just goes in and does it, and he looks at the numbers and that kind of thing. So.
Oh yeah, I mean that's all it's about. It's about, can his suit actually accomplish the goal?
Yeah.
And he's not looking into the grand scheme of everything. He does, but it takes him a while.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought it was kind of a funny thing that I was thinking about.
No, that's a good correlation between the two.
Yeah.
Because I mean, most people that have worked under someone, especially if you worked under multiple people, it's rare that you've seen just good managers or just bad managers. Most of us have seen a little bit of both. And it's funny because the book actually goes into it and says we often correlate leaders with managers, which is not always the situation.
Yeah.
It's the way society tells us that we should look at it.
Yeah.
And in certain industries, it's true. You do have your managers are your leaders, and that's the way they perform. But
Sure.
it's not in all of them. I think the second chapter goes into the authoritative and the democratic and the laissez-faire type managers. And that's where you can really start seeing how a manager with these different types of communication styles really dictates how the organization runs.
Right.
So an authoritative is going to be more strict and rigid, but at the same time, you're suffering the stress of the employee to achieve your goal. Where the democratic is going to take more time, but your goal is still going to get there.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of what you're willing to sacrifice to achieve your overall goal.
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. And as you were saying that and talking about that, how leaders aren't always managers, and sometimes in society we think they are. You know, a leader, I think what makes a good leader is it does not necessarily have to be someone who's at a higher level than you or have a better position than you. It's somebody that you can look up to, somebody that you can go to if you have questions, things like that. Someone that makes you feel good about yourself, that kind of thing. And I'm trying to look for another quote that I highlighted. Yeah, so managers, it says, treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you may help them to become what they are capable of being. And so, you know, it doesn't have to be a manager. It doesn't have to be somebody in that position. It can just be somebody that treats you well, that you look up to. Whether they do it in an authoritative way or whether they do it in a different type of communication style, as long as you look up to that person, and that person is a good example, I think that can definitely be considered a good leader and not a bad leader, as long as they're doing, leading you in the right direction.
That's good. All right. So we've been at this for 14 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you think? Think we covered it?
I think we covered, most of what we're going to get covered for two people.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else to add, I'm just trying to go through things that I marked. I thought that would be good to go over, but I think that's about it.
We've covered everything I marked, so.
Great. Awesome. Hopefully we can get our team going, though.
Yeah. I thought we had Madeline, but I'm thinking she had technical problems.
I think so too.
So. But
she can make it up if she needs to. There's some way to do it. You make a YouTube video or something. So.
Okay. So.
All right.
I'll go ahead and get this turned in for us, and we'll talk next week.
Hey, I'll do next week. I'll set that one up.
All right, cool.
All righty.
Have a good night.
Next week. You too. Bye.
Bye.